In this episode, we will feature the story of Cupid and Psyche. But first, let's have some background. The god of love, desire, attraction and affection was known as Cupid or Amor by the Romans, and his Greek name was Eros. He was the son of Mars and Venus, also known as Aphrodite. Cupid is often represented as holding a bow and an arrow, which is his source of power. It was said that a person or even a deity who is shot by Cupid's arrow is filled with uncontrollable desire. Now, quite a few words derived from his name, common ones being amiable. If someone is of amiable nature, he or she is absolutely lovable, friendly and pleasant, and people like to socialize with that guy. For example, the shopkeeper was quite amiable and customers loved to have chit-chats with him. Next word is amicable, which is often confused with amiable. Now, amicable is used in the sense of peaceful. It means showing a polite and friendly desire to avoid disagreement and argument. An example sentence would be, the two parties decided not to take the matter to the court and sought an amicable settlement for the dispute. Yet another word based on amour is amity. Amity means a feeling of friendship or friendly relations between nations or groups. For example, we hope that by the recent visit of PM Modi to China, the amity between the two neighbors will be strengthened. Next, there is a foreign expression, amour propre, which means self-esteem, and it literally means love of oneself. And the last word is cupidity. Now, since Cupid was known as god of desire, and when desire becomes excessive, it becomes cupidity. So the word cupidity means eager desire to possess something. Also, greed or avarice are synonyms. An example sentence is, we often get to hear the stories of company directors who, in their cupidity, violate insider trading norms and are eventually caught and sentenced for the same. Closely related to Cupid is our next goddess called Psyche. In mythology, Psyche was a personification of the human soul. Psyche was once a mortal princess and the youngest of three sisters, whose peerless and astounding beauty excited the jealousy and ire of Aphrodite, who was by the way the goddess of love, beauty and desire, when men turned their worship from the goddess to the mortal girl. Now, astounding means causing a feeling of great surprise or wonder, and ire means intense anger. So, we see in this passage that Aphrodite, who was a goddess, got angry at and jealous of Psyche, who was very beautiful. Moving on, Aphrodite commanded her son, Cupid, that he make Psyche fall in love with the most contemptible of men. But Cupid was so enamored of Psyche's beauty that he carried her away to his palace, where he visited her regularly in a secretive way. Now, contemptible means not worthy of respect or approval, deserving contempt, somebody who's very lowly. And enamored means to cause someone to be loved or admired, and it is another word based on Amor or Cupid name and the fact that he was the god of love. However, Cupid hid his true identity from Psyche and commanded her never to look upon his face or inquire who he was. Psyche was living happily and would have continued to do so if she had heeded the advice of her beloved. But once, her sisters visited her and seeing Psyche's fortunes got very jealous. With a malicious intent, they made her believe that in the darkness of night she was embracing some hideous monster. Now, heeded means to pay attention and generally used with advice or warning, like in this case. Malicious means having or showing a desire to cause harm to another person, like Psyche's sisters did. And hideous means very ugly or disgusting. Moving on, and so while Cupid was asleep, Psyche approached him with a lamp, and to her amazement she beheld the most handsome of the gods. She was enthralled and intimidated at the sight, and in her excitement a drop of hot oil fell from her lamp upon his shoulder. This awoke Cupid, who censured her for her mistrust and abandoned her. Now, enthralled means to hold the attention of someone by being very exciting, interesting, or beautiful, like Psyche realized her husband was. And intimidated means to make someone afraid. Censured means official strong criticism. In summary, Psyche was severely scolded and abandoned, that is left alone by Cupid, when she broke his trust by peeking at his face, which was just the opposite of what he had asked her never to do. Psyche's peace was now gone all at once, and in despair she wandered about from temple to temple, inquiring after her beloved, and eventually came to the palace of Aphrodite. There her real sufferings began, for Aphrodite treated her like a slave and imposed upon her a series of the most difficult and challenging labors. Now, despair means to no longer have any hope or belief that situation will improve or change. And wander means to move around or go to different places, usually without having a particular purpose or direction. Moving on, with her hard work and sincerity, Psyche completed all those tasks, while Cupid, who still loved her, invisibly comforted and assisted her in her labors. Eventually, she was made immortal by Zeus, and in a wedding ceremony attended by the gods, Psyche was reunited with Cupid. Summing up, true to Psyche's character, there is a proper word in English called psyche. It means the soul, mind, or personality of a person or group. For example, the advertising firms understand the consumer psyche so well and try to build the image of a product such that it caters to the desires and aspirations of a consumer. Like many people want to get a fair complexion, which the fairness creams offer, and so they buy that idea which they see in such ads. Yet another word is psychological. It means of or relating to the mind. And there are many other related words such as psycho or psychedelic drugs, etc. But the one I would like to highlight is psychic. The word means a person who has strange mental powers and abilities, such as the ability to predict the future or to know what other people are thinking or to even receive messages from dead people. So that brings us to the end of this video.